Hello again. If you haven't heard yet, a new balance patch went live on the Korean server, and Soulfist got hit with a 2.8% nerf on everything, including their awakening this time. But more on the Spirit Bomb later. Initially, we thought that these patches were supposed to be tuned for the endgame content in the KR version. But in the case of the last update, we got it relatively soon after theirs went live for less than a month. So how much will this update affect our version on the game this time? Well, okay, as much as it doesn't feel great getting nerfed, I honestly think that we got away with it easy. In the last balance, we got too much good stuff, much more than just a 7% damage buff. If you played Soulfist before the May update, you probably understand what I mean. We basically got Energy Blast on par with Merciless Pummel, and it overall gave Soulfist more super armor and viable range attacks. Sure, we lost quite a bit of weak point damage, but when is that ever a line on the resume to join a party when Destruction Bomb is a thing? We also got the hype cancel. It's hard to quantify how much of a damage improvement it was, but it's a game changer. When I read the patch notes, I thought it would start recharging from the point it was cancelled, and it ended up not being the case. But after 3 months of Legion raid, this function is still one of the best update we got. In fights like the first and third gate of Vicus, where the boss just dips out and hit you with a half-minute long mechanic, we can just cancel the current hype and have it back up and ready to go afterwards. Now, I can't even imagine how the KR vets did those raids without it for over a year. And lastly, this wasn't covered anywhere in the notes I saw, but after the previous update, activating your identity started triggering adrenaline stacks. So it's much easier to keep the buff up, especially for Robust Spirit, who previously would prefer Precise Dagger instead. Now with all I just mentioned on top of a 7% damage buff, the 2.8% pullback doesn't really seem that bad now, especially now that we've adjusted to our current builds. However, one thing I want to add is how strange it is to include the Awakening in the 2.8 nerf when it wasn't included in the 7% buff. While this doesn't really affect Energy Overflow enjoyers, Robust Spirit not only didn't see the buff on the Spirit Bomb, but now it's actually nerfed. My guess is that since the game has been out for a while, Soulfist vets rarely miss their awakenings now, so they want to dial that giant number back a little bit. So the TLDW is, 2.8% is not that bad. It's low enough to not do much to Soulfist's current performance, but enough to get other classes off our ass. So if you just started making your Soulfist and feel a little bummed after looking at the patch notes, don't worry. It's still a powerful and versatile class with a lot to offer to the player if you invest the time into it.